LinkedIn Recruiter is nearly becoming obsolete for me. Let's put it that way. This tool used to be everything. Every single one of those clients I've ever worked with has come from the podcast. I've done no cold client outreach. Over £500,000 just from a podcast.
Oliver Paull is 28 years old. He has no office and no staff. He's never made a cold call to win any of his clients, who works from his flat in London from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. entirely on US time. And just under 3 years, he's built close to 800,000 alone at 80% profit margin.
I left there pretty much having 3 panic attacks a week. Sometimes my manager at the time would ring me and say, "Where are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm back home lying on my bathroom floor."
He walked away from his first job, billing $650K to join his mate's company. 2 years later, just before Christmas, one phone call shut the whole company down in seconds. He had no job, no plan, so he asked his dad for £3,000 to help him start the business. His dad said no.
He said, "If you're asking me whether you should start a company, the question should be, do you believe enough in yourself to invest your own money to allow you to be successful?" And I replied, "Yeah, I do." And he said, "Right, go and start your business."
Now in month one, he closed £27,000. That was done stood at the breakfast bar with his laptop propped up because he didn't have a desk. Year one, he did £290,000 at 81% profit margin. Year two, $298,000. Year three, $270,000 already. This is all powered by 120 episodes of a podcast that he uses for business development and an AI resourcing strategy that works while he sleeps. I mean, how does that feel at the age of 28?
Yeah, I've had a lot of my friends sort of ask me about it, and it's pretty weird.
There is a new generation of recruitment founder out there, and they're not standing up making 100 dial-outs a day. Instead, they're building assets that drive clients inbound to them. Ollie might be the clearest picture yet of where our industry is headed. So this is a brand new episode of the RAG Podcast with Oliver Paull, the 28-year-old who's just billed £800,000 across the US market on his own from his flat in London. Without further ado, Ollie, welcome to the RAG Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. It's a pleasure.
No, it's good. It's something we've been speaking about for a while. Again, I think 6 months, 9 months maybe. We chatted. I think you had the problem. Are we going to do this? I'm like, oh shit, I've missed that one.
Yeah, it was back in December. I think you first reached out after I did a post about sort of the year that I'd had. Yeah. Then finally we've got it on the diary.
We have. Well, look, you're dialing in from London, I believe.
From London, Battersea.
Yeah, and a fellow podcaster with his own mic and camera and stuff, setting up well. Sometimes we have some real issues with the audio when you're doing it remote, but hopefully not going to have that today. Mate, I've done a brief introduction. I want to get right into the story in a minute. Before we get into the story, give us the bird's eye view of you and what the business does today. None of the detail in the past, just an elevator pitch of you today.
Yeah, cool. So RegGen is a company I founded around 2.5 years ago now. We focus now on placing sales and technical individuals into construction technology companies, majority in the US. So when we started the business, we were focused on cybersecurity and placing just salespeople. The last 1.5 years pivoted into this construction technology space, really niching down into that market and becoming the go-to recruiter for construction technology SaaS companies.
And it's just you?
And just me, yes. Nobody else, just me sitting at home all day long, every day.
28-year-old sitting at home, running his own company for the last 2.5 years. Are you living alone? Do you live with someone else?
So I'm very fortunate. I live with my girlfriend, and we also have a housemate who is 27, and he also owns a recruitment agency as well.
Wow!
So he's 3 years old as well.
Is he going to burst in and get on the? Is he in the same apartment or house every day on his own calls, doing it together?
Yeah. So he runs the kitchen. I run my bedroom, and then we'll have a little tea break in the afternoon.
You like living away with?
Yeah. Well, have you seen these content houses? Right. That's the way we look at it. We're just a house full of recruiters, pretty much. And then we've got his brother next door, who is a financial analyst for a tech company. So
wicked. Young entrepreneurs living together, doing it together. I love it. Well, I'm going to get into all this. Let's go back then. So I've known you. I've been on you've been on our radar for years because of the relationship I had with Jez Heard, who was on the podcast a number of years ago, who rapidly grew a business called Scale Genesis, incredible revenues, and then, was open about the fact that he didn't want to do it and liquidated the company, and you were part of that. So, but let's go beyond. You knew Jez, who you ended up working for as a student, right?
Yeah. So both me and Jez studied at Cardiff Met. We both did sports and exercise science, and Jez was actually in the year above me. We are the same age, but I did 3 years at college, and then Jez joined straight away. So through a friend of a friend, ended up that me and Jez actually ended up living together in, I think, 2nd and 3rd year. Right. So really got to know Jez for all his great quirks, and obviously his brilliant mind and stuff. So that was really how I got to know Jez in a nutshell.
So then you're not from Cardiff, you go to Cardiff, and then you ended up getting into recruitment in Bristol, I think, after graduating, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the story
is a classic degree to get into recruitment, by the way, similar to what I did.
There is a story, to be fair, of why I got into recruitment. And there's sort of 2 sides of. I used to do promotion at uni. Loved it. Loved being on the street, trying to get people in clubs, selling tickets. Yeah. And I would say it was like £1 a ticket you would get. Well, I was selling around 300, 400 tickets a week while I was at uni, because I thought, this is brilliant. I can make loads of money. Yeah. But I remember one night I was stood on the street trying to get someone in the club. These 3 lads come up to me. Lo and behold, they are pretty pissed. And they go, mate, if you want to make real money, you should go into recruitment. And I went, coming from Cornwall, I went, well, what's that? Never heard of this job, didn't know what it was. He's like, if you want
to do Cornwall, that's just a kid who does it. I'd never heard of it either.
Yeah, I think most people hadn't. And they were like, we have nice watches, nice cars. Little Ollie was going, oh, I want all these things. Money sounds great. So I then went home, started looking at recruitment. And in my 2nd year, I went, you know what, when I leave, I want to go into recruitment. So I had another 2 years pretty much of uni to go, which most people, it's like you get to the end of uni and you go,
you're like the first person who's ever said that to me.
Yeah. Well, this is the honest truth. And then there is another part to it, which is, I didn't know this because I'm not very close with him. My granddad owned a recruitment agency in London, in Mayfair, for 30 years. And only when I asked my mum and said about, I want to go into recruitment, she went, you realize that's what your granddad did. And he ran a global business recruiting software engineers in the US at the time from the UK. And the fact I was now in those similar shoes, and that wasn't the decision making hasn't been down to that.
How the hell did they do it international back then?
Not a clue. So I think it was more like shipping people off and whatever it be. Again, I don't know him, whether my mum's sort of making up some of parts of the stories, but he had a recruitment agency.
Either way.
Yeah. I don't trust everything she says.
It's in the blood.
Yeah, apparently so.
So you go and work for a company. I know the guys at G2. Did a bit of work with them years ago. And you went and joined. So you moved from Cardiff to Bristol, did you, straight out of uni?
Yeah. So being from Cornwall, I went, what's the nearest biggest city that's not London or something that's going to scare the hell out of me straight away? So went to Bristol, and remember so I left during COVID of uni. I originally got a offer from Heat Recruitment. Yeah. And I was meant to start in September. In August of that year, they rang me and said, because of COVID, we're doing layoffs. Your offer is no longer there. So I'd known for like 3-4 months. So I panicked going, well, I'm stuck in Cornwall. I'm working in a farm shop. That's my stepdad's. I really don't want to be working on a farm. I hate getting muddy. And so I started interviewing, ended up getting an offer from G2, as well as also a couple of others there. But G2's training ground was what it sold it to me ultimately.
Okay. So take us back to what that was like. You were there for 2 years.
Yeah. So 2 years, went straight in and did contract recruitment. They put me into a market where I was placing project managers, construction managers into the food industry in the Netherlands. So sounded super niche to me. I'd known the three people who had done this market before and all quit after about a month of doing it. Right. I came in, had quite a bit of early success, and I thought, you know what, I'm incredible at this. The next 6 months was absolutely horrendous. I'd gone from doing 2 deals in the first month of being there to then suddenly doing nothing for 6 months. I very much worried about my job, but working 7 a.m., 7 p.m., trying to get in on the phone, 100 dial outs a day.
They are like old school standing up on the phone as many times as
Oh
they
yeah. If you weren't stood up on the phone, like you're getting someone shouting at you across the room, like it's Wolf of Wall Street vibe, I
They
suppose.
celebrate, like the guys there celebrate that culture, right? It's what and they're incredibly successful because of it. It's just the way
100%.
that they choose to work that way. And it's, as far as I'm aware, it's like a graduate model. They bring young people in, they work them hard. They've got some incredible billers, but not for everyone that way of working, right? And what was it? How did it feel like for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, and then this will paint a good picture of the, before I left to go and join Jez's company, that year I was on target to bill 650,000. So I was on for a pretty good year. The money was going to be good. I was doing perm deals, contract deals. My business desk of all the clients I was working with Pepsi, McCain's, like some of the biggest food company, Coca-Cola, some of the biggest food companies across Europe. And they were working with little old Ollie. He really didn't have a clue what he was doing. But that environment, I realized wasn't for me. That I was always a people seller, that I wanted people to like me, and they wanted cold, hard pushing, like we're going to close deals no matter what, within reason. Like, and it resulted in me just mentally struggling quite a lot. Like I mentioned to you that I left there pretty much having 3 panic attacks a week. I'd have to go to the bathroom because I'd be having a panic attack all the time. Sometimes my manager at the time would ring me and say, "Where are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm back home lying on my bathroom floor." I had to leave. I couldn't function. Wow. I was performing amazingly.
Where was the anxiety coming from though? Was it the fact that you just didn't want to make those cold calls, or was it the way in which you weren't working aligned to your values?
Yeah, I think it was just that it didn't align to my values of how I wanted to sell, but also I loved cold calls. I loved handling objections. I loved it. It was when I was on the phone, fine. As soon as I was not on the phone, it would all, that pressure to perform and to hit these numbers and targets and comparing yourself to 20, 30 other people in the sales room, that I always wanted to be number one. That was always my biggest issue, is that I have to be the best. And I really struggled with comparing myself to other people in the office.
So when did you know that it was time to leave? What was was there a final straw there?
Yeah. So when I moved to Jez, I'd actually turned down Jez's first offer. He put a great offer in front of me. I took a month and a half to decide if I was going to join him. I ended up turning him down because I was looking at how much money I was making at G2.
Yeah.
And the final straw for me per se was, I remember just sitting down with my girlfriend at the time and being like, she's like, "You can't keep doing this. Like you're literally, you put on loads of weight. You're mentally not there. You can't function." I couldn't go to public places. Like I couldn't go and socialize with people I didn't want to. All I was worried about was working. And I didn't go on holiday for 2.5 years or whatever it was. I don't think I took a holiday day. And at that point, I knew I had to get myself into a different environment where I can be more autonomous towards myself, have more control over how I sell and how I depict my career. There were other reasons. There was stuff going on in the company that sort of pushed me a little bit harder, but it was definitely a big catalyst, was how I was mentally feeling.
Yeah. So then
you
decided to join Jez.
Yeah. And then so me and Jez just met up, just as we do, because we're mates, we still do. And he goes, come and join me. And he threw this offer at me that I'm telling you now, most people at that age would never have said no to.
What was it? Can you tell us?
So he offered me like 65K base, and then I was getting 30% of whatever I brought in, with then a plan for getting like a 10% equity of the business. So when you've looked at your mate who's just done 1.1 or 1.2 million, you've gone,
that's a big,
I wouldn't mind a little piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And just having that base and that stability, the opportunity to be a modern day recruiter, nothing against the old school methods, but the way he sold it to me, I went, it sounds cool. And I got to go to Manchester, and I did quite like it.
Take us through that then. So you Because I know you moved. Part of the deal was you had to go and move to Manchester.
Yeah, so moved to Manchester. Absolutely loved it. Part of the deal was do 6 months in Manchester, and then we would then move to London and open a London office. We were already at about 10 or 11 members of staff at that point, and then the plan was to open something in London. The ultimate plan was that Jez was going to move to London as well. We pretty much were going to move all operations to London. That was, Jez had a goal that he wanted to move there as well. Ultimately, and this has been a big lesson for me actually, and it's sort of why I probably am hesitant to hire for myself. We hired all of our friends, like every single one of them. Like anyone we knew that did recruitment, you came to work for us. Yeah. And that actually backfired so much. You think that you can trust your friends to deliver and to work harder. Me and Jez have very similar work ethics. Yeah. We will drill ourselves into the ground. We will work every single hour there is in a day. And even when it wasn't my company, we were doing that. We were up till 4, 5, 6 a.m. sometimes just to try and get hold of the candidate at 10 p.m. or whatever. We didn't care. And
you were doing everything in America? All your clients?
Yeah, everything in America, yeah. So, yeah.
Go on, you finish what you're saying, but I did want to ask you, because you mentioned about the way of working was different. So let's go into that hiring piece, and then I want to go back into what it was like to go from standing up and making hundreds of dials to how you actually operated inside to Scale Genesis.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, the hiring, it was a big lesson learned that just hiring your mate can be detrimental. And actually, I tell you what, the first person I had to fire was a very good mate of mine. And that was the most horrible experience I had in my life, when he turns around and goes, "How am I meant to pay rent, mate?" And I go, "Yeah." And so that's a huge lesson.
What were the symptoms that made you make those decisions? Like, what were you seeing that ultimately said, right, we've got it wrong here?
The more that it wasn't the respect. So the expectations were there. We aligned it. We put PIPs in place. We did whatever we could to make it as a normal environment. But there was too much camaraderie, I suppose you could say, in the office, which that you need that balance as a manager of that. I'm your manager, not I'm your best mate that we spend every single weekend together having beers with.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's where
was the activity was low, or what were they showing that you were not happy with?
Yeah, activity was definitely low, and I think something that both me and Jez struggled with at the time, both being very young, was setting expectations that were clear and also achievable. There were some things I obviously don't agree with, and the expectations that me and Jez could hit wasn't what a normal person who has nothing tied into the company. Yeah. I was fortunate. I had a big base. I had everything I needed to be comfortable, so I could throw everything into it and take that risk. Whereas we didn't sort of think about, actually, some of our mates might not have any savings, or they might not have anything. They want to have a more of a social life, because we didn't interview them properly.
Yeah.
We just went, "Do you want a job?" "Yeah." "Cool. We know you're quite good at where you are, but it's a different environment." I think then we'll talk about this, of the startup and the bigger company, the difference of working for them. And that comes down to what you asked me about, the processes.
Yeah, so talk us through the biggest, like, what were the obvious changes for you to go from that boiler room environment to Manchester?
Yeah. And it did take me a while to really grow into the role, because actually going from G2 that had a CRM that is stockpiled to the brim, to go into Jez, where we were changing CRM pretty much every 2 months, that we didn't have really that much data. So then what we actually ended up doing was, Jez wanted to build I'd never done email outreach to candidates. Well, a little bit to candidates, never to clients or anything like that. So we spent the first 4 or 5 months after I joined literally just doing data. So we were pulling, scraping every last bit of data we could through Sales Nav, through using a thing called Findy to find all these emails, cleaning the data, verifying every email. And we did that with no outreach, no recruiting activity, nothing at all. We just did data pretty much for about 4 or 5 months. And that to me threw me off completely, because I was just itching to just get on the phone, ring clients, do business, which is what I've been told to do. So that shook me a little bit. And then we started doing email outreach. And I remember it was just before December we started to like email clients. And I think my first sort of wave of this new data that we just cleaned had something like 18 clients come back wanting to work with me. And so I was like, what's going on here? Like, this was it felt free to me. It felt like I'd done no work to achieve this. And so we're doing email outreach and then working that way, using LinkedIn Recruiter. We were using very early on stages of AI recruiting software to filter and find candidates for us. And that just blew my mind that you could win business that way. I wasn't having to jump on, speak to 16 people a day who would all tell me to basically F off. Yeah. That was the biggest difference for me, and it blew my mind completely.
So you're in Manchester, you're building data. Was it, he already had a team when you came in, or was it?
Yeah. So there was it's about 7 of us.
Yeah.
So I think I was the 7th to join.
And then you grew it to 10, 11 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 11 or 12 we got to as the max. And then it sort of fell very quickly back down.
So what happened after 6 months?
So after 6 months, we moved to London. We opened an office here. I hired my best mate from G2.
Right.
And he was a really good recruiter. Again, I went to university with him. He also went to uni with Jez. And so he comes in, we work in the London office in Old Street. It was going all well. We hired another one of the mates from Cornwall. He was working remotely at the time, was about to move to London. Then the outputs just weren't there. We started doing everything. We won a big bit of business with a defense client in the US. And we were working all those roles, but couldn't fill them. They were so niche, completely outside of my remit of what I would ever have done in my career. And I think we wasted a lot of time, to be honest with you.
On those email outreach, like to get the work, what were you emailing with? Was it with a candidate? Were you leading with candidates or?
Yeah, so it was a mixture. To be honest with Jez, he's a very good copywriter. And some of the emails and the campaigns and outreach, this is where I've now learned all of this from, is from Jez. We did so much training on actually writing it. And you know what his sense of humor is like? Well, he can put that into written text, which resonated so everyone was finding it hilarious because you're sending all these different, and he would spend hours every day using stuff like Lemlist or Lavender or tools like that to work out how to write better emails. And then, yes, that was exactly what he was selling candidates, telling jokes, whatever it be. And then
were you getting really hard to fill jobs back? Like you said, you were getting things that you were like, what the hell is this? Like,
well, we kept it to a niche to start with. Like mine were all cybersecurity. They were all sales roles. It was really good. The issue was that what happened was we broke the domain and then got obsessed with then domain health, domain list. So everything went from sending thousands of emails down to, well, we can only now send 50 emails a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
For people who don't understand what that means, breaking a domain, can you explain it?
So obviously with like Google, Outlook, whatever it be, Gmail, they all have a domain reputation. So if you're sending a stupidly high quantity of emails that are bouncing to wrong emails, not getting replies, getting unsubscribes, Gmail will flag your account as being a damaged or, let's say, spammer.
Yeah. And
suddenly, whenever you send an email, you're hitting the spam folder, or in a lot of cases, not even being delivered to them at all. That happened to us. We went from an open rate of like 95% using Loxo, and we were getting like 20, 30% reply rates. It's crazy numbers, really. And then that dropped down to, we were getting, I think, like nearly 12% open rate.
Wow.
So
how did that affect Jez at that point?
Yeah, quite badly. Just because that was our main method. And then being Jez, because he's very intelligent, he gets very hyper obsessed with things. And so he got very hyper obsessed with repairing the domain. How can we get around it? So we created loads of subdomains. Loxo then told us we could send it through their domain. And in the end, it never quite got back to how good it was with our domain. Because at the time, we didn't know what domain reputation was. We didn't know it was a thing. It was actually when Gmail and Outlook actually started to really get strict on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, That was definitely a hard time when we suddenly then had to go back to cold calling.
Is that you've got to London now, and you've set up this office, and suddenly the email marketing stops?
Yeah. So that became challenging because then we had to pivot our whole business model. I was fine because I was very fortunate that in that 6 months, I had actually just about built up enough clients I could sort of keep ticking along my own book. And at the time, there was pretty much 8 or 9 of us at this point, and I was the only one generating revenue. Jez has gone completely hands off recruitment. Everyone else is sort of struggling to win business because they're not knowing how. None of them have done cold calling like I had. So I was just calling people because that's all I knew, and I knew it would work. They can block my number if they want, but sometimes go back to the old way, and it's always trusted.
Fair. So you were there for 2 years, and then it all came to an end. So take us from that period of, you're in London, there's 2 of you, the domain gets blocked. What happened between that point and this coming crashing down?
So ended up having to... So we'd fired pretty much most of the Manchester office. I think there was one guy up there working with Jez. We got him more doing like marketing towards the end. It was Jez's first ever hire, and he really, I think, didn't want to let him go per se. We then, I had to then fire my best mate who was working with me in London. The more awkward part was that me and him were actually living together as well. So you can imagine me coming home from that office the evening, and it was my ex-girlfriend, me, and his ex-girlfriend, and him. Awkward, to say the least. I was very fortunate that Jez told me to fire him, and by the time I'd got to the office in the morning, Jez had fired him for me, but still quite awkward when you walk into the office and he goes, "Mate, I've just been fired." And I go, "Yeah, I was just on my way to do it." So that was hard. He was very fortunate that G2 took him back. And so he went back to work for them in the London office this time. But yeah, that was a horrible experience. And to be honest with you,
friendship in the house or not?
We only about 6 or 7 weeks ago have now back to where we used to be as mates. Yeah. I ended up moving out of the house at this point after firing him, and it was just because we weren't talking. It was just very awkward. And then ended up not talking basically for a whole year, and then we're now back talking. But just a horrible experience, and another example of hiring mates has its drawbacks if you have to fire them. And at the end of the day, we did. He had been with us 6 months. He hadn't done any deals, so we were hemorrhaging cash at this point.
Basically, Jez has built loads. He's brought you in. You're scaling the team. Obviously, the method to finding clients is drying up. It's not working. Was Jez billing as much at this point? Like, was there a reason why? Because surely you and him could still prop up the business costs at that point.
So we got down to literally me and him, and probably worked for about 4 months this way. Jez still was hands off. Even when the business was struggling, Jez had lost all love for recruitment. He just didn't want to do it. He couldn't bring himself to do it. And fair enough. Like,
he wanted to just write emails, basically. That was his job.
He just wanted to run a business. He wanted to be a CEO. He wanted to do that, and that was what he enjoyed. He wouldn't want to get on the phone, didn't want to source candidates, etc. Could he have done it, and could we have saved the business? Potentially. But I don't think the desire there, it stressed him out so much, and really hurt him, actually, the firing of his friends. Like, he felt he had let everyone down, and Jez is a really proud person and a really good friend. That you could see it emotionally. I've never seen the guy cry, but when he had to fire his friends, that really hurt him, and that in the end, I think, broke him. And then one day he just rings me and goes, "I feel really bad, mate. You're literally paying me to live at this present moment in time. I might be paying you as a boss, but all the money you're bringing in, you're literally funding my pockets." And by the way, for towards the end, the last 6 months or the last 7 months, I took no commission. So every deal I was doing, I walked away when the business closed down, being not owed, he's my mate, and I agreed to do this, but technically being owed £40,000 in commission.
Wow. So you're putting money in the business, keeping it alive, and then he phoned you and says what?
That he feels bad that I'm doing this, X, Y, and Z, and he's not doing any work pretty much. He's like, for the last few weeks, I've been sat at home doing nothing. I'm going to close the business. So I'm just going to be an online personal trainer.
You're like,
so
did you see it coming?
Yeah, it said to me, a little bit like, oh, I might close the business, whatever. But like, this was very much so, yeah, I'm going to close the business. And he was like, this was literally just before Christmas. And he was like, I'll keep paying your salary for I think it was 1 or 2 months more while you figure out what you want to do. But he was like, if I was you, I'd start your own business.
As a seasoned recruiter, you know that a CV never tells the full story about someone. Candidates share what really matters during conversations. They tell you on calls, in the interview, over email, what they're motivated by, their salary expectations, plans to relocate, etc. Most of the detail ends up buried in notes, forgotten. It's not on a resume. Now, our headline sponsor, Atlas CRM, changes all of that. It's the first AI-native recruitment platform built to eliminate admin. It captures every single conversation automatically that you guys have and turns it into something you can use. They've got something called Magic Search, which is now out, right? And what you can do is ask it questions like, who talked about wanting a 4-day week? Or who've mentioned they're open to relocating next year? It searches across your entire database and pulls the answers instantly. So it's not about keyword guessing and digging through old notes. You get insights from real conversations, not limited by CV fields and coded filters. Atlas also makes BD easier. With their opportunities tracker, you can track and grow with client relationships powered by generative AI. And that's built into an existing workflow, so you don't need any extra tools. It's in the CRM. If you want visibility of your business, Atlas's smart dashboards give you clear view of the pipeline across your business. And it's not theory, right? Atlas customers have reported over 40% EBITDA growth and 80% increase in monthly billings from adopting the platform. Atlas is built for agencies who want to grow without adding more manual work. So don't miss the future of recruitment. If you're sat there thinking, I need to bolt AI into my platform today, don't even bother. Just get started with Atlas and unlock your exclusive listener offer at www.recruitwithatlas.com/therag.
All right, let's get back to the show.
And I went...
And how did you respond to... What are you at this point? 26, 25, 26?
Yeah, I must have been 25, 26. And I went... I'd always wanted to start my own business, but I'd always thought maybe when I'm like 30 or something like that, when I'm a bit more mature. And at this point, I literally... Because we were making money and maybe I hadn't had the foresight, I just decided to go and get a new property. It was like £1,000 more a month extra for me, like a lot of other expenses and whatever. And then I went, crap, what am I going to do? Like, fortunately, I've always been quite money smart. That I've always been a big believer of you save. So I had the money there in the bank that could provide me for the next couple of months. But
how soon did he shut it from that phone call?
Pretty much that phone call was when we ceased trading per se.
So wouldn't you have had like searches on and clients you were dealing with and things like?
Yeah, we had that, and very fortunately, so I had at this point I had 2 clients on that I was actively working with. One, so very fortunately, Jez has said, take the clients with you when you start your business. There's my present to you. That for just being good.
Compete, do what you want, basically.
Yeah, exactly. He just said, look, I'm going to be closing the business, so I don't really care. So very fortunately, well, sort of fortunately, those 2 roles I didn't end up filling, but these roles also sent me, as soon as I started the business, those companies sent me 2 new roles, which I still had access to the old emails, and then just sort of said, look, here's my business now. Can we sign terms? It will be paid to me. Yeah, and to be fair, I've always built good relationships. So they were like, yeah, no problem.
Did you have to think twice about setting up? Or did you, I mean, he said, just start a business, mate. But did you consider going getting a job anywhere else? Or was there not any?
No, I at that point when I don't think I can go back to working for like a G2 or a company like that. I'd learned too much.
Running the business anyway. If he was out of the business for that long and his mind was gone, then you were running it anyway, weren't you? Essentially.
Well, yeah, I just wasn't having to do the back office and stuff like that. And even Jez said, he was like, when you start your business, if you're stuck or don't know what you need to do or how to run back office or whatever it be, just message me.
Yeah.
And so I remember I rung my dad and I said, Dad, I think I'm going to start my own business. And my dad's a business owner as well. So he went, okay. And I went, do you mind lending me £3,000? And he went, what for? I said, well, that's what I basically need to get the company going and a bit of cash flow. He went, do you not have any savings? And I went, yeah. And he went, and this stuck with me and actually still repeat it all the time, is that he said to me, he said, if you're asking me whether you should start a company, the question should be, do you believe enough in yourself to invest your own money to allow you to be successful? And I replied with, yeah, I do. And he said, right, go and start your business. And I think for me...
Why did you want his money, though? Just so you didn't have to spend your own savings?
Yeah, I just wanted to take it as a loan. And so I was still, it didn't have to eat into my savings. So I, in my mind, always value my savings. I worked hard and I wanted him to see about just like supporting me. And actually the best thing that he did was when he turned me down. And I think it was all in a bunch of panic of me going, crap, can I afford to do this? And like if the next few months are quite hard.
I reckon he'd help you at that point, wouldn't he? Like he would have helped you if, but like that's, my kids have asked me now, they're 11 and 13, like about the future and business. And they say, would you give us money? And I'm like, they ask you these daft questions. Would you give us £1 million? Like, I haven't got £1 million, but, and they're like, would you give me $1 million? Would you give me some money? I'm like, in the mirror, my stepdaughter said, if I had a really good idea, would you give me the money? And I said, well, probably not. I was like, I think I'd get you to go and work for it. You'd have to go and earn it. And then I'd help you. And I said to her, I think I'd help you if you were struggling. Like, but I'd want to see you I think anyone who's made money themselves values what they've done. And if you've given, even if you, I mean, look, loads of people are given a starting fund and what have you, but I actually respect your dad for that. I think I would have been.
So do I. The best decision, best thing he ever did was saying that to me. And he's always like, he's had a business that he would never even give me that business. He always said to us as kids, go and prove to me you can't do it, then you can have it. But if you can do it, then you'll feel so much better for doing exactly. He owns a jewelry store.
What impact do you think having an entrepreneurial dad had on you? Because I didn't have that, you see. I can't say I looked up to someone growing up. I had no guidance. So what would you...
It always made me want to have a business, like 100%. I always saw him having this jewelry store. He wore his suits. He could do whatever he wanted. He could close it when he wanted. Not that he ever did, but he did have the option. My pops was my granddad, other one, not the one we don't talk to, but he owned a gentleman's clothes store. He owned 5 of them across the country. And so I saw these two guys that had built these careers. They built them by themselves, and the lives they've been able to have is incredible because of it. And so I always wanted that. I'm too opinionated to work for other people, which I've realized. That why I butted heads with people is that I like to change things. I like to do things the way that I think it should work, not how other people think it should. I will listen to advice. Don't get me wrong. That's important. But I do like to
I got you.
Try my way first, if that makes sense.
So your dad says no. You dig into your savings. Tell us what happened next. Where did the name come from?
So I think at this time it must have been ChatGPT. It just turned. I'm pretty sure I was using it at this point.
Yeah, it would have been just.
And I was like, "Oh, this sounds good." So I remember I wanted obviously something to influence to recruitment. So obviously rec. Then the Gen actually stands for recruitment generator. So being a generator for all these companies of generating you great talent. And that's what ChatGPT gave me, was recruitment generator. And then I just saw rec and gen and I went, sounds pretty good to me.
Scale Genesis, there's similarities, isn't there? Like you've come
from... Exactly.
I came from a company called Venquist, which was a made up word. And so that was always going to be the route I went down, was a made up word. So when Hoxo was a made up word, right? It was just like, I wanted to, because when you put it into Google, there's no comparison. It's not like there's loads of them.
True.
Yeah. So that I think you learn from where you've been and what you've been doing. So, and then take us. So what did it look like at the start? You just
it was brilliant.
One day you're working for Jez, and the next day you literally just flipped it to you.
Yeah. So it basically flipped it over. Well, it was a period of time. I think it was about 2-3 weeks. I was working out sort of what I wanted to do, helping Jez sort everything, closing down the London office, whatever it be. And then it got to about December, and I was like, right, I'm going to do this, launch the company, figured out how to go on HMRC and sort everything out. So start the business, and I literally, the weekend after starting the business, I moved into the new apartment. So all going on. I was also going on a 10-day holiday at that point as well. So we moved in, then went away for 10 days, which was
great time.
So stupid. I didn't really have a choice. I was like, right, I've got to do something now. Obviously, it's going to be too late. So that all happened. And then I just reached out to old clients and new clients with LinkedIn. I messaged, whatever. And I'd been running a podcast with Jez prior. And I thought, I'm going to just keep doing that. I don't know how to get hold of clients anymore. I don't have a phone system to ring the US. Don't have any software. The only way that I knew is I could record, because I could still had access to StreamYard. So I just recorded using that. And then lo and behold, I was messaging in the cybersecurity space, won some business. And then an old client reached out to me. And actually I remember January of that month, I did my first deal, which was at £27,000.
That's the first you set up
that was first time. First month, yeah. But the funniest thing was, I was in this new apartment, and for the next 2 months, I was a little bit skint because I bought LinkedIn Recruiter and whatever, and it hit my bank account quite a bit. I had no stools. I was stood in a kitchen, stood on my feet on a laptop on a breakfast bar for a good 2 months while running the business, as raw as it could be. Filming a podcast, stood up, super uncomfortable. My back was completely destroyed, but I spent those next 4 months literally doing nothing else other than working. And I was seeing all this money coming in, and I was going, this is crazy. I didn't even have an accountant at this point. I didn't even know I needed an accountant. I just was sending these invoices, getting paid. And then suddenly I went, well, I better figure out actually what I do with this money. And
you're 20.
How do I do
it? It's not.
Well, I didn't have a clue. And so we'd done 60,000 in the basic first quarter of starting the business. And I was like, well, this is wild. First 3 months, didn't really know. Then I fell ill for 2 weeks because I literally had killed myself into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working literally Monday to Sunday every single day obviously I work US hours. So I start work at 2 p.m. and I finish at 2 a.m. every single day.
Still.
Yeah, to this day.
2 a.m. I know a lot of people doing US hours, but I don't know many people working to that late.
Yeah, I tell you what. So I used to do with Jez 10 till 10 with US, and then started my business. And Jez just randomly went to me one day. He said, "Have you ever thought about just starting later and finishing earlier and working till later?" I went, "No, not really, but it sounds quite good because I can just chill in the morning." So I changed it to 2 till 2, and honestly, best thing I ever did. I mean, some nights I'll work till 4 a.m.
And you've got a girlfriend?
She's a flight attendant.
I was going to say, how the hell do you maintain a relationship
to be fair, she does. She's even fine with that. I just don't mind, because the great thing is, and this is why I love having it by myself, is that in the evenings, if I'm not sat at my desk, then I'll just portably take my iPad into the living room. We'll watch TV. I'll do work. I'll resource or whatever it be. And so I can do it all flexible. And so I learned, it took me a while to realize actually how much flexibility I could have during that slot it fitted me better. I've always been a night owl. I like staying up late.
I am literally opposite of you. I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it. Last night, England were playing against Costa Rica in the warm-up game. And I could only watch the first half because my eyes were going, and I was like, it's 11 o'clock. I don't need this. I'm up at 5:30 every day. I'm like, fuck that. But
yeah, see, I'm up at 9 a.m.
9?
Yeah, 9 or 10. Yeah, sometimes if I've been up for 3 a.m., then I'll get up at 10 or 11. That 2 till 3 period, if I do that, then really does mess with me the next day a bit.
But if I go that time, that's West Coast, because you're not getting the East Coast at that time, right? They're not
West Coast candidates on the East Coast will talk to me then. So realistically, the 12 till 2, there isn't a great deal of calls going on at this point. I do occasionally with some West Coast candidates.
12 in the day or 2 at night?
12 at night till 2 a.m.
Right.
That is my sweet spot for getting the best resourcing and the best work done. If you want to get hold of a candidate on the West Coast and actually get them to reply straight away, they're at home chilling. Like when I worked with G2,
what's that? 4 p.m.
So 8 hours behind. So
4
it's
p.m.
it's about 6 p.m. there.
4 to 6 p.m. in it. 12 till 2 is 4 till 6. Yeah, so it's the end.
So 4 till 6. So if I message them at 1 a.m., they might just be clocking off for the day, and so they're instantly replying to me, and I can instantly reply to them. What I found was between 10 and 2, if I stopped at 10, the amount of clients that are then waiting for me to message them is crazy. Like that period there, they have it.
Break it down then. So I want a day in the life of Oliver Paull, right? So you wake up, let's say an average day, not the crazy ones, just an average day. Take me on a journey of what time you wake up and what you do hour by hour.
So let's say average day, 10 a.m. awake, get in the shower, eat some breakfast. I'm in the gym by 12, in there for an hour, come back, shower, then probably have a bit more food. Then 2 p.m., I'll sit down on the laptop, work.
Right.
So we'll then trundle through, probably get to about 4 or 5. I'll then probably have like a half an hour break, have some more food in that period. This will be that work up to about then is I might have some of the East Coast clients, East Coast candidates having calls then. Then as we push on from about 5 till 8, generally it's probably a bit more central stuff going on. So a few more central calls with clients, candidates, because we're sort of hitting their like midday, noon area where they're a bit more free. Then about 8 o'clock, I take an hour normally to cook dinner, eat dinner, chill out, just reset. Maybe just pop my head outside to get a bit of fresh air, get back in, and then we'll do 9 till 2. Well, 9 till 12. That's generally my busiest part for West Coast calls. That's when I'm normally chock-a-block. And then from 12 till 2, that's resourcing, prep. Like they're my best hours. Like honestly, no one's messaging you, no one's texting you.
Yeah.
None of your mates are awake. Everyone's sleeping. So I literally hear Netflix on or TV on, Netflix on or headphones on, listening to music, and just ticking away.
And your girlfriend's either at work or she's asleep.
Well, my bed's right there, so she's probably asleep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you're on a call and she's asleep, like in the bed?
She wears headphones because she watches TV while she sleeps.
Right. So you'll do candidate calls while she's there.
Yeah, I'll do candidate calls, or if I know I'm going to get a bit boisterous or it's a client call, I'll just go to the kitchen. And so, fortunately, I use like an iPad Pro for my work, so moving around is so easy. Just grab it and off I go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a
very interesting
one.
day plan. I'm the opposite, mate. I'm like 5:30 up, 6 a.m. gym, 7 a.m. I got a McDonald's for half an hour, random every day. I post about it.
Yeah, I've seen this with the coffee.
People love it, but I literally sit and have a black coffee, and I just think, and I do some stuff here and there. Laptop out, and I get ready for the day, and then I come back at 7:30, and I've got to get the dog out. I've got to get ready for shower. I've got to get the school run done, and then I get back 8:45, 10 to 9, and then I'm working 9 till 12 flat out. Usually back-to-back calls. Mondays I don't do any calls. I just do my content and my strategy. But every other day I'm speaking to people. 12 till 2 I take it off every day. So I go back in the house. I'm with my daughter, with my wife. Cook. I always cook. And then 2 till 5:30 every day. So we're 5 o'clock now. And then usually 5:30 I'll wrap up. And then I'll help with dinner. I'll help with the kids, the bedtime routine, all that shit. And then, but by about 7 I'm flagging. Like I know even around the kids about 7 p.m. I'm a bit short, I'm a bit moody because I've been awake for 14 hours at that point. So
I'm like that in the morning.
10, I can still stay up till 10, 11. I'm usually in bed about 10:30, and I'm only getting about 6 hours sleep, which is not probably optimal, but it works for me.
You get 6 hours, and I get 8 hours of sleep a night, sometimes 9 hours of sleep. And everyone goes, someone went to me the other day and said, Ollie, sure, this is really unhealthy. Like, your sleep must be ruined. Well, no, I go to bed at the same time every night, and I wake up later than you, and I get more hours sleep.
It doesn't matter when you get it. Your body, the circadian rhythm does work with the sun, and so you'll have to have proper blackout windows.
I know I've got full-on eye mask, everything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
all clocked in, and you do have to be like that. Like, I'll have the curtains drawn, whatever, and so I try to really mimic what I'm working. Like hours wise, I do try and look after my health as much as possible. And it's not for everyone. I mean, it works very well for
You're
me.
28 as well. I think if you had 3 kids, that'd be almost impossible. So, like,
100%.
have you thought about that? Is that something to down the line?
Yeah,
you need to consider.
I think so. I mean, there's loads of different things that go through my mind. Of that, the worst bit was I considered going to Dubai at one point and working till 4 a.m. every night just to deal with the work difference. But I'm just a bit tapped in the head.
I have a client, Tom, who lives in Dubai and does US hours. Like, I don't know. And
yeah. It didn't seem very plausible, but I think moving to the US would be cool. It would work better for family, whatever.
It makes sense. I think Latin America or America to be on the right time.
Yeah, like I'm a lifestyle company at the moment in the sense of that it funds my life, and I can go on holiday. I do every year. I'll go on 3-4 holidays a year. Still manage my work while I'm away, and can still generate X, Y, and Z money. And even last year, I took more holiday, more time off, and ended up doing 100 grand more than I did the year before. So the systems
talk us through the numbers then. So what have you done year on year? Since you set up?
So 209,000 in my first year of business. And then that was at like 81% profit margin, which is wild in itself. But then year 2, we did 298,000. That was about 75% profit margin. I spent a bit more on a few other AI tools and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then this year already, I think we've just passed like 270,000. We've got a couple of offers that are waiting to be closed. So hopefully, again, sort of aiming to be consistent with that 300 mark.
Yeah.
So around 800K probably in the next over 3 years.
I mean, how does that feel at the age of 28?
Yeah. I've had a lot of my friends sort of ask me about it, and like it's pretty weird. I've had to be with myself, like I just see them as like numbers.
Yeah, they're just numbers
versus versus, and it's not me trying to, like, it's just how I have to teach my mind to be, because I don't like spending money.
Yeah.
And I really don't. I'm very fortunate that I bought a dream car that I really love. I have nice watches. I love clothes. I'm very materialistic. Like, I'll be very open about that. It's what keeps me going. I eventually want to have a lovely house, a lovely family, and be able to provide for them. That is my goal. But the byproduct of making the money, I'm glad I've done it, but it's come with sacrificing and working a ton.
Yeah.
Like, I've given up a lot. My mum always told me, live a normal 28-year-old's life. Enjoy yourself, go and do things, go and see your friends. I don't go out on Thursdays. I don't go out drinking midweek.
Yeah.
I don't have time. I'd rather work. And yeah, it's a really satisfying feeling, but also a bit like imposter syndrome. That's what I always feel.
Have you done anything with the money then? So if you're not, you say you've bought dream cars and stuff, but have you invested it? Have you saved it? Like, have you been clever with that? That capital?
Yeah, it's like it's all pretty much all sitting in. I've got savings accounts, so it's spread across multiple ones, and so I haven't invested it as of quite yet, like, because I don't really understand. Like everyone says, oh, you should do this, but there's so much out there, and it confuses me. And I do have a financial advisor, and we are sitting down and going through everything in the next coming weeks. But my dad's old school money. He's a jeweler, pawnbroker, like
cash in under the bed.
Yeah, you're old school. Like, he never invested in his life. It was that you have money, you can buy things. Like, you invest money, there's a risk. We don't play risks with money. That's how I was growing up. That's how I was taught to be with money. That's why I always saved. So I'm the same with this business, is that I live within my means. I probably could live a better life, but I live with my friends. I could live by myself if I wanted to in London, but I don't know. It's I quite like living with my mates. It's good fun, as I've said, the business owners, whatever. But yeah, it's
So what have you got a plan then as to what you're building towards?
Yeah. So I've always said this since I started a business, is that I learned very quickly with Scale Genesis. I was too young to manage people, and I wasn't ready. G2 told me that, and that was partly why I left the company, was because they told me I was too young to be a manager, and I wasn't mature enough, and all I cared about was money. And I thought that was wrong, but actually I learned with Jez that that was right. And actually, so the plan is that hopefully by when I'm about 30, I've always had 30 in my mind. I don't know why, it's just a number. But when I'm 30 and I'm mature and I'm a bit more settled with my life, that I'll then look to grow. But I want to build not a big company. I don't care about that. I want a boutique agency of 6, 7, just absolutely incredible recruiters who are just hungry, want to work for a really cool brand. But that's all, like, branding for me is super important. And so I'm just trying to grow as big a brand, something that's so recognizable in a space that someone can just slot in and they can go for it. And at that point is when I'll take a step back. Because my missus has gone to me and said, you can't do these hours forever. And I know I physically can't.
You could do the hours if, like you say, you move to the US. I think you'd be all right. But if you live in London, you are struggling.
Yeah. I do want to eventually be able to sort of sit back and be like, here's my business, let's make it as autonomous as possible. I've made my business pretty autonomous. I probably don't need to work the hours. Like, I have a tool that reads my emails and drafts all my emails for me. It tells me everything about every role. I just feed it with a JD and it can reply to the candidate of more detail than I can probably write in an email. So that's one thing that's covered. Got sourcing agents that help with the sourcing using Juicebox. Like, there's other ways I've made it so autonomous. Most of what I'm spending is just having to physically reply to people or be on a call or call candidates. Like, I could get a sourcer in to do that. All I would do is film the podcast, which generates, and by the way, like those numbers I mentioned, every single one of those clients I've ever worked with has come from the podcast. I've done no cold client outreach. And that's nearly over £500,000 nearly. Yeah, over £500,000 just from a podcast. And like, we don't
know how, because the rag makes me about 7 figures a year now, right? But people don't get it. I talk to recruitment founders. I'm working with about 30 founders right now in a group called The Boardroom, where we're replicating what I've done with my LinkedIn. And there's 4 pillars, right? There's the mission. So the mission of the RAG podcast is to genuinely educate and inspire recruitment founders globally to build the recruitment business that they truly want. Not what they think they should build. Like, I love everything you've said because it's truly you. You're not doing this because someone's telling you to do it. You're doing it. You sat there, your girlfriend's in bed, and you're working your way because it suits you at 28 years old. And I fucking love that. And I hope there's another 26, 27, 28-year-old listening going, I'm just going to do what Ollie does. Equally, there's loads of people who want to build a different way. So that's my mission. And I don't think many recruitment founders go out with a mission. They just go out to fill jobs. So there's 4 components. There's mission. Then you need an asset like a podcast, something that gets you in the room, something that meets people. And then I think you need the right delegation, the right automation. Like you said, I've got a really sophisticated AI stack, and I've got a team around me that can get me in the room and can execute on I don't edit the podcast. I don't do any of that shit. I can't. The worst thing would be me sat there editing videos. Like, it's never going to happen. But on the face of it, I'm enjoying it and I'm commercially set for it. So we're building that out, and I've got like 30 founders, and it's amazing because I love the journey, and you've done it yourself. So, like, hats off to you. But there's a real journey to it for a lot of people. There's a confidence issue, and they don't get where the commercial side. They're like, well, should I not just be talking about jobs? I'm like, well, no. In what different ways have podcast guests became clients, and has the podcast generated clients for you?
Yeah, well, look, put it this way. I only post my podcast pretty much on LinkedIn. So there's no revenue to be made off the back of me from a podcast. I've launched 120 episodes of my podcast. Like, there's absolutely tons of them out there. Yeah. But not every single one. I'll send probably 30 LinkedIn messages, right? Maybe a week. And about 20 of them will reply saying we're either interested or not. And probably about 10 of them will say they're interested. Yeah. Okay? Find me a better conversion rate for messaging clients who are directly in your niche, who align with what you're looking for, that reply interested in having an initial call with me. Yeah. So I run it in the sense of they reply via LinkedIn. I don't send cold emails for this. That's all for candidates. LinkedIn, connect, message. Do you want to be a guest on the podcast? CEOs of content companies, and we're going to talk about revenue leadership. Don't need to talk about recruitment. One of the segments is about how do you grow a team, how do you scale? But we start with a pre-screen, pre-call with a client, okay? Standard, very old fashioned, a pitch flip. I tell them all about the podcast. I ask them questions about one of the bits we'll talk about is growth. How are you currently growing the team? What are you currently hiring for? How would you go about it? Do you work with external? I'm asking qualifying questions without them realizing I'm asking qualifying questions. And so they've told me all this information. You get to the end of the call, book them in for a podcast. You go, oh, by the way, you did mention you're hiring for an account executive. I am a recruitment agency. I haven't even pitched myself yet.
Yeah.
Right? I've just sold at the end. If they've told me, oh, no, we hate external recruiters and everything like that, fine. I just won't pitch myself. I don't need to. Yeah. Or I'll just say, look, if you ever need a recruiter,
you're not expecting every single one to turn into an immediate role, are you? And that's the mindset that the industry struggles with, because they're obsessed with every activity we ever do has to turn into $1. Like, it just can't be that way.
The best clients I have are people who reached out a year later. Yeah. I'll tell you, this year alone, I had a client reach out who categorically told me when he was joining the podcast, said, look, I'm never going to give you business, left that company, became a CRO at another company, reached out to me. I did a £45,000 deal with him off the back of a podcast from literally like a year and a half ago, or a year ago, or whatever it be. Like, do you know how good that feels? That you haven't pushed him so hard and you haven't pressed someone so hard, but actually first person they thought was Ollie, because you filmed the podcast with them, because that's an hour on their time. Is pretty non-forgettable, in my opinion, at least. But
it's funny. Yeah. I had a guy. We've got, like, obviously Atlas sponsor the show, and I'm an investor in Atlas. I think they're amazing, and we've got this Hot 100 that we do. So we get like 100 recruitment founders based on their brand, based on their LinkedIn presence. They do all the algorithmic stuff. I've not got anywhere near it, but anyway, we co-brand it. It's brilliant. We're tagging people all over the world that are doing great things. And I had a message literally yesterday of a guy saying, hi, Sean, we don't use Atlas and we don't need marketing support. Literally just like, do not sell to me, basically. That's the first thing he put. And then he wrote, but I just want to say how your collab is absolutely genius. So hats off to you. And I said, thanks, mate. Oh, nice opening statement. I may steal that when suppliers reach out to me. And he just put laughing face back. Like, I love the way he's going like, fuck off. Don't try and sell to me. I'm not interested, but you're doing well. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah, well, look, transparency. I honestly, I do love that content that you post as well with Atlas. I do think it's top tier. But what, like, classic there of he's just transparent. He's just being honest. And I think so many recruiters, and I hate recruiting. I hate connecting with recruiters on LinkedIn. It's my biggest passion I try to be very genuine and transparent with clients. If I'm doing crap, I'll tell you I'm doing rubbish. If I'm slightly off my game, I'll be the first person to go, look, if you want to end like our contract, I'm completely fine. Like, this is not how I want you to see me. And the being transparent like that has won me so much more business than trying to force something down someone's throat that they didn't want it, or going, oh yeah, I've placed 10 of them in the past. Actually, no, I've never placed them, but I believe so much in my tech staffing and my ability. I'll fill your role. No problem. Like, one of my clients at the moment, one of my best paying clients, they're in the health and fitness industry, right? They do membership management. No clue. I got a referral. Someone referred me to them. They're a 50-year-old company run by a family in the most random place in the US. I've done like 3 deals with them this year, and they paid me an absolute fortune. Like, I don't know what I'm filling, but I know how. I have enough systems in place that are allowing me to do so. And I'm honest about that. Like, sometimes I really don't know what I'm doing, but it works. Just work it out.
But one thing you are doing is like you said, you want to be the go-to guy in a very specific construction tech. You're, in my opinion, living and breathing the brand and the way that I think we both see the world the same way. I'm not saying everyone should be 28, living in a flat and working 2 till 2, but I think everyone should be investing in assets that work for them. Like, you've got an asset that's working for you. So when you do go and chill out with your partner and watch Netflix, someone's listening to your podcast, someone's watching your content, they're still consuming Ollie, even if you're there or not.
100%. Like, if you're using email outreach, and I use 3 different tools that are basically using it. I have subdomains, which has like 6 different domains. I can send nearly 300, 400 emails in this day and age a day to different candidates. I think I'm working something like 14 roles at the moment, and I can work them all simultaneously. Name me a time and day where you're able to do that in the past. Like, yes, okay, I spend most of my days now just speaking to candidates, but all of the emails and stuff, like LinkedIn Recruiter is nearly becoming obsolete for me. Let's put it that way. Like this tool used to be everything. It used to be the only way I ever thought I'd ever find candidates. That I can now use a tool which costs $179 a month, and it gives me 1,000 emails or 1,000 credits, pretty much.
Is that juice?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So cheap, like ridiculously cheap. It works incredibly well. It's efficient. The filtering system. Okay, sometimes there are people that prefer to be spoken on LinkedIn, and sometimes it doesn't have emails. But I have best of both.
I know Jordan at Atlas said, like, when you did the comparison though, that LinkedIn still wins in terms of the access. There's still more people, and it's the same people on Juicebox. It's not like again, I don't know the data, but he was pretty confident that you still can't beat LinkedIn in terms of its access.
100%. Like, this is why I still have it. Is that why am I going to not message a candidate because they don't have the email? Yeah. For example, I can find 100 software engineers and it will have 94 of the emails. They will all work. They're all verified. Pretty much. You might get one bounce. Okay. Those 6 are then just click on the LinkedIn URL that they have access to, and then I go on LinkedIn Recruiter and message them. So you still need it.
Need access, but it's not like you say, you're not 100% reliant on it anymore.
No, and I used to be, and that always used to scare me, because when me and Jez used to do automation and whatever it be, we played around with for like 2 or 3 weeks. Suddenly I get banned for 7 days from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I went, well, Jez, our whole business is based on LinkedIn. Like, I can't do anything now for 7 days. So that always scared me. And at least now I'm confident that like I could do it without, but still I don't want to sell myself short. One deal covers the cost of LinkedIn Recruiter a year. Yeah. So that's the way I always looked at it.
Ollie, I'm a fascinating conversation. I could carry on for another hour, but we're out of time. I want to say thank you for being so candid, right? I think you've been really honest, you know, the highs and lows. You've had some tough times. You've been through all sorts. You're a young founder. You know, you don't know it all, but what you are doing is you're driving the car, you're building the bike while you're riding it. You're 800 grand in 3 years. You're absolutely an inspiration, mate. I mean that. I'd love to keep the communication up with you and get you back on in the future. I think I'd like to see where, you know, you're going to be in a year or two, and how when technology evolves, you're the sort of, I believe you're at the forefront of cutting edge understanding it, and you're going to keep adapting it. So I guess I want to say thanks. And my final question I always ask is if people are listening and want to reach out to you, I think you will get a fair few people that say, look, tell me about what you're doing on Juicebox and stuff. Are you open to people share? I know it's other recruiters and it's not always your favorite audience, but if they do want to pick your
brain. Always happy to help people. Just as long as there's nothing annoying, but I have plenty of people that I've helped, mentored, like coach, whatever it be, the littlest things. Like, I'm very fortunate that I had someone like Jez to do that for me. And the people, I always love when people message me saying, should I start my own company? Should I do this? How did I do this? Those sort of questions, friggin' awesome. Yeah. Because just do it. Like, you will never know, and you'll never experience the rewards that you get from doing it unless you try.
Agreed.
And that's the choice I say to everybody.
Mate, thanks so much. We'll, like I said, we'll get you back on in the future. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the RAG podcast. If you haven't already, please do subscribe wherever you listen to this show. As the more subscribers we get, the more people will listen and the more recruitment owners we can help. As a recruitment founder, you must know that things are changing. AI is everywhere. Cold outreach is getting harder, and job boards, well, they're not what they used to be. But personally, despite the negativity, I believe the future is the greatest opportunity of our lifetime in recruitment, because for the first time ever, a founder with 5 recruiters with a clear niche and the right systems can build the kind of influence, reach, and profitability that used to take 500 recruiters and a global office network. The agencies that are winning right now aren't necessarily the biggest, but they are the most visible, the most trusted, and the ones building inbound demand. At Hoxo, we're working with clients who are running multiple 6 and 7 figures in net profit, outperforming the negative noise and headlines. So to explain what these guys are doing, I've created a brand new free masterclass video for RAG listeners. In this video, it's less than 10 minutes long. I'm going to show you what these businesses are doing differently from the rest. So the link's in the description. Fill in the form, watch the video, and see exactly how this system that these clients are using could work for your agency. Good luck.